Groot Gat is something that I think about that is defined by not knowing. It's a kind of culture defined by making things up or feeling things or not being sure of really where you're from, because we were strategically forced to forget a lot of our own history and a lot of our own heritage. So I'm trained as a printmaker, and so I don't really have the precision for printing or even the patience or even the know-how. Printing used to frustrate me because you need to be very particular and clean cut. It's almost like being an architect, and I'm just not that. And I find that my work in itself has a very printer-like quality, but mostly I work with drawing ink, and I work with crayons, and I work on Fabriano. I find my work to be, it's a bit more bright, it's light, it's very bold, it's very unserious in a way. I know that the stories behind it is quite deep and serious, you know. But I like to draw people in with color and fun, and I do think that identity politics can be resolved in a way that doesn't necessarily make you feel out of your depth. For me to show at a place like Norval Foundation, you know, I grew up in the southern suburbs. I grew up wanting a place like Norval that was close to where I lived. And when I first came here, it just felt like a place I had imagined in my mind when I was a child. To show in a place like this, it adds to my practice, it adds to the level in my work, and I'm also just very excited for people who identify as colored and people of color who share similar histories to me here in Cape Town. I think it's definitely a homecoming for me because I haven't shown in Cape Town in about 5 years, and I'm excited for everybody to finally see my work on another level than they've seen it before. You know, people call me a pop culture cave painter. I called myself that actually, and now it's just caught on. When the settlers came and they found the Bushmen here, so many Bushmen died, 90% of Bushmen died with first contact, basically, from things like chicken pox. And so for me, when I see cave paintings, it always struck me how small they were. And in some way, I feel like me making these works so large is almost like imagining a time where cave paintings and art could have developed in its own pace, you know, become bigger progressively as time went on. But our culture is really something that feels nipped in the bud to me, like something that was never allowed to develop past a certain point. I think the pure scale of it is just a reclamation of what could have been. So these works are called Rub Us Out, and you know, you can see like progressively it disappears. It's about like trying to understand like why these things were drawn, why they're there, and the fact that most of them are gone. And there's also this very like premeditated, strategic erasure, you know, a physical erasure of the proof of these people, you know, who are my ancestors, but then also the erasure of even so-called coloreds within society today, you know, where we are like this kind of like in-betweeners, you know, we're neither here nor there. We are something that people fall back on when they need something, or when there's a big debate about what is it to be colored, you know, then all of a sudden it's something that we have to discuss. I love the Peter Clark Art and Design Center because I went there when it was formerly known as the Frank Joubert Art and Design Center. I had been a student since the age of 8 until I was 18. And it was definitely one of the most important things that happened in my life because it made me feel not alone as a creative child. But I do think that there's something to be said about allowing children to have their own taste, especially. And Peter Clark definitely taught us that. It's been so incredible to share my practice and my work with these young kids, and I'm just excited for them to go forth and, you know, be future Lady Skollies. Or not, let's not say future Lady Skollies, but as an artist, you're constantly being compared to other older artists, so hopefully I'm that artist that they start to use. The message I'm trying to convey and the feeling I'm trying to convey when people see my art and see the show is to see similarities in each other. You know, sometimes being colored has this like weird animosity thing to it in certain ways. But I think that thinking about our own history and our traditions and stuff is just getting to know each other more. And the only way to really heal and to feel better about things is to connect with each other and be bold in that and have intent.
I want people to really feel like it's okay to think about your heritage in any level of seriousness. Because I think in the fine art world, sometimes there's a lot of emphasis put on a certain type of resolving of energy within your own heritage. And so whether or not you identify as colored or brown or black, I think that if we chat to each other and we have things like this show to be like a catalyst or icebreaker between people, we could find out way more.